Today I'm going to talk about two poems, Sonnet 12 by William Shakespeare and We Are Seven by William Wordsworth. We will start with Sonnet 12. Shakespeare has written the sonnet in first person, point of the view. The rhythm scheme of A B A B, C D C D, E F E F, G G in 14 lines in total. Basically, in this poem, talk about the past of time. In the note, I have organized all literature verses in third part, for example, metaphor. In the verse 13, the poet wrote, "And nothing against time scythe and make defense." It means the destructive power of time is compared to that. And personification in verse 11, the poet mentions things sweet and beauties do themselves forsake. Sweet and beauties are personified as they forsake themselves over time, meaning that they can temporary and short-lived. And there are some images in poem. The first one is, "And sea brave day sank in hideous night," in verse 2. It shows how day passes itself in time. And second one, "When leaf trees I see barren of leaves," in verse 12. How season changes as a natural circle over time. For some devices, like alliteration, burn on the bear with the white and bristly beard, in verse 8. And "When I behold the violet past prim," in verse 3. And announces, "When love trees I see barren of leaves," in verse 5. The second part is symbols, such as violet flower and left trees. Those are symbols of life, which begin its prosperity and gradually undergoes a process of beginning of decay. Or silver and white is symbols of old age, which is at end of life. In the poem, the speaker speaks with a rhythm tone about past of time. All things in their youngs are young and beautiful, yet they fall in the natural circle to decay. Past of time shows the inevitability of beginning. So the speaker shows the pitiful and the rhythm tone, then speaking about beautiful things decaying to its end. The tone has actually made clearer of the theme. Now we move on to the theme of this poem. In this poem, the main theme is the passing of time. First, the nature experience natural cycling of day and seasons because of the power of time. Our immortality and insignificant, short-lived and temporary. Not even nature can alter course of time, yet our immortality decays spontaneously over time, like grandness and beauty and sweetness in youth. The speaker has represented time in its might power, and urging people that only way to preserve and community immortality is to have children. The second poem is We Are Seven by William Wordsworth. It was written in 1789. Since the rural area of England, it was time when there was no advanced technology and medical care. Children, particularly those from rural area, were not well cared for. Many have died due to malnutrition. William Wordsworth has written this ballad with a first person of view. Each stanza is a consistent of 4 lines with a rhythm scheme of ABAB. 4 literature verses in this poem are euphemism and imagery. Euphemism is to die as go away and focus to go. for imagery, emphasize natural beauty of the little girl. Her hair was thick with many a curl that clustered around her head. In verse 7, for symbols, a simple child and the little cottage girl, those symbol of innocence with no knowledge of the world. She is also symbol of the natural beauty when she is not grown yet with fair eyes. Overall, the poem is written in a gloomy and sad tone. It beginning positive and develops into grievous. First, in the very beginning, first stanza, the character starts with a creepy mood. In the electing the simple child to knowing about dice, the tone is somewhat depressing and gloomy. It's foreshadowing the dice of other two siblings in the conversation that happens later. The second point is before the conversation gives away about a dice sibling, the speaker compliments on girl's nature in necessary beauty. The second one is as they begin to discuss about the dead sibling. The tone shifts to gloomy and sad. The girl does not know about dice, but sensible about the pain and the remorse. She expects to see the glowing again. So innocence is a main theme in this poem. The culture girl representing the innocence has no knowledge about dice. She has instead her sibling grave life. Just so that they are different world without the pain. She has spent most her daytime playing the graveyard, feeling the represents of their sibling. As the speakers attempted to tell her about dice, she denies it and cannot understand the real meaning behind the dice. Without believing in dice, she is yet sensible to pain, sorrow, and remorse. She understands her believing lives as if to rouse themselves of pain. In the end, when the speaker repeats the fact that they died, she replies, "We are seven." After reading those two poems, I have personally preferred Sonnet 12 because it's easier to understand and it's more rhythmic.